The murder of Odee Perry was not just a late night shooting outside Parkway Gardens. It became one of the most important murder cases in Chicago drill history, because it sits right at the point where neighborhood violence, street retaliation, police paperwork, internet mythology, and drill culture all started crossing into one story. Before the world knew O Block as one of the most infamous names in Chicago, it was Parkway Gardens. Before people on Reddit were arguing over KI, Boss Trail, STL, EBT, MOB, and ballistic evidence, there was a real homicide file with witness statements, shell casings, surveillance attempts, photo arrays, lab reports, and detectives trying to figure out who shot a 20-year-old man off his bicycle near 64th and King Drive. This is the type of case where the internet version became almost too simple. People repeat one version over and over. But when you actually go through the murder report, the story gets much deeper. The paperwork does not just say OD was killed and O Block was named after him. It shows the climate before the murder, the exact crime scene, the witnesses who saw different parts of the shooting, the businesses detectives tried to pull footage from, the 9mm shell casings recovered at the scene, the ballistic links to other shootings, and the 2016 cold case follow-up that eventually named Rodney Boss Trail Stewart and Gakira K.E. Barnes as the offenders after both were already dead. The full report breakdown, crime scene details, surveillance discussion, and document archive are on TopTrendReportTV.com in the Chicago section, because this is one of those cases where the deeper paperwork is what makes the story hit different. To understand why Odee Perry's murder became so important, you have to understand what Chicago looked like before the shooting happened. In early 2011, the South Side was already moving through a violent stretch where neighborhood lines, personal beefs, and gang affiliations were turning small conflicts into killings. This was before drill music fully exploded across the world. But the names that later became famous online were already tied to real blocks, real losses, and real retaliation. Parkway Gardens had black disciples tied to the area, while nearby sets like STL, EBT, MOB, Brick City, Jarrow City, and others were already being discussed in connection with shootings and murders long before the internet turned everything into a timeline. One of the biggest deaths people connect to the early climate is Shondell Tuka Gregory. His murder happened on January 12, 2011, months before Odee was killed. According to the police report, Gregory was standing at a bus stop at 602 East 63rd Street, waiting for a westbound 63rd Street bus, when an unknown offender walked up, asked if another bus was coming, moved behind the bus shelter, approached Gregory from behind, and shot him in the back. The report says Gregory staggered near a trash can and fell before the offender fired more shots into his back and ran northbound on St. Lawrence. 3 shell casings were recovered at the scene, and he was dead when CFD Ambulance 14 arrived. That murder is important because online Chicago drill discussions often treat Tuka's death as one of the major early turning points in the STL, EBT, and Parkway Gardens conflict. The police report itself does not say Odee's murder was retaliation for Tuka, and that distinction matters, but the streets and the internet have connected those deaths for years because of the timing, the neighborhoods involved, and what happened afterward. By the time Odee was killed in August 2011, people were already living inside a climate where a shooting from months earlier could become part of the reason another name was targeted later. The paperwork around Odee's case also points to a wider violent environment outside just the STL and O Block storyline. A later lab follow-up report says 9mm cartridge cases from Odee Perry's homicide scene were identified through IBIS as being fired from the same handgun used in another homicide on July 17, 2011, and the same forensic review also associated a fired 9mm bullet from an aggravated battery that happened on August 5, 2011. The detective then noted an ongoing disturbance between Brick City and Moab in the area of Cottage Grove and 63rd Street. That ballistic link is one of the strongest reasons the case should not be treated like one simple rumor, because the gun evidence connected Odee's murder to a larger pattern of shootings happening around the same time. This is where the story gets deeper than the version most people repeat online. Odee's murder happened inside a climate where Tuka had already been killed, the streets were already tense, and the same gun from Odee's murder scene was later connected by lab work to other violent cases. That does not automatically prove every internet theory, but it shows why the murder became part of a much bigger war discussion. The case was never just about one person riding a bike. It was about a neighborhood conflict that was already heating up before the name O Block even existed. According to the police reports, the shooting happened on August 10, 2011, around 11:35 p.m. near 401 East 64th Street, close to South Martin Luther King Drive. Officers arrived at approximately 11:40 p.m. and found Odee Perry injured in the street after being shot. The report says he was transported to Stroger Hospital by CFD Ambulance 55, where Dr. Wiley and medical staff attempted treatment before he was pronounced dead at 12:18 a.m. on August 11, 2011. The first police report describes one gunshot wound on the right side of the neck, but once Odee reached the hospital, staff discovered a second gunshot wound near the left shoulder area. Later, detective reports documented the injuries more specifically, stating that one gunshot wound entered the right side of the neck and exited the left shoulder. In the 2017 exceptional clearance report, detectives listed one gunshot wound entering the front left side of the neck and exiting the left shoulder, along with another through and through gunshot wound to the left buttock. That detail is important because it shows the shooting was not just one clean shot from a distance. The wounds and the recovered shell casings point to multiple rounds being fired while Odee was moving or trying to get away. The scene was not hidden deep inside an alley. It was right near the stores across from Parkway Gardens, where King Drive runs north and south with businesses on one side and the Parkway Gardens apartment buildings on the other. Detectives described the area as a nighttime scene with overhead street lighting, clear warm weather, and an outside temperature around 70 degrees. King Drive was described as a two-way double-lane street with traffic moving north and southbound, while the west side had the Parkway Gardens apartment buildings and the east side had small retail businesses and restaurants. The crime scene stretched across one of the most important physical locations in the entire O Block story. Detectives documented that Odee had been lying on his backside in the middle of King Drive before he was removed from the scene. Crime scene personnel found spent cartridge casings inside the inner perimeter near the southeast corner of 64th and King Drive. Officers used yellow crime scene tape to cordon off a larger outer perimeter across King Drive from 6,450 to 6,350, then used red crime scene tape for the inner perimeter in the intersection of the 6,400 block of South King Drive. The most important early witness said they were walking eastbound across King Drive toward the store when Odee exited the same store, mounted his bicycle, left the parking lot, and began riding northbound on King Drive. That witness said they were standing in front of the store in the parking lot when they heard 3 gunshots. They saw Odee fall off his bicycle at 64th and King Drive, get up from the ground and begin running northbound down King Drive before approximately 10 more gunshots rang out. The witness then saw Odee fall back down into the street. That witness description changes the way the scene should be told. Odee was not simply standing still and ambushed in one frozen position. The report describes him riding a bicycle, falling after the first shots, getting back up, trying to move northbound, then being hit again as the gunfire continued. That gives the shooting a much more frantic timeline than the internet version usually gives it. It also explains why the case became so debated once people started comparing the witness statement. I'm gonna stop the preview right here because the full breakdown is way deeper than what I can fit into a short clip. The full 34-minute version is now posted on toptrendreporttv.com in the members only section. In the full video, we go through the Odee Perry murder report, the location, the bike, the 12 shell casings found at the scene, the possible AutoZone camera, and how this case became one of the most talked about moments connected to the creation of O Block. This is not just a quick summary, this is the full case file breakdown with the paperwork, the timeline, the scene details, and the parts most people never actually fled northbound on King Drive. When you put the CTA statements together, the case no longer looks like one person 34-minute video now.